Window 2 talked about Vavilov, look for suspended dust, and the Terminator. And window 3 about the experience and about the three-dimensionality of the moon this close.
Wonderful.
And another observation about Oriental, I would say, is the features going off to the southwest, the two large, almost look like scratches in the surface. I don't know if they're rays or canyons or collapsed lava tubes, but two distinct features that are almost parallel going off southwest from Oriental Basin. They are the first things that made me notice parallax of our trajectory looking out at Oriental. That and in the inner walls of the east side of the crater rings, you really get a sense that we're flying over something with elevation and terrain, and they look different from this orientation.
Love to hear it, Victor. And you had it that those chains are actually crater rays, secondary craters formed from the formation of Oriental.
Yeah, speaking of crater rays, the crater rays that are going off to the northwest, that run off toward Hertzsprung and I believe toward Vavilov. I'm not looking at it right now, but those crater rays are very interesting. They're all very small. I know you've imaged this, but they're all small and they look like, you know, a big impact launched rocks and things that made smaller impacts down the way. But something very interesting, and again, you can see this in imagery, but some of them are parallel, and then some of them converge toward the center of Oriental. And then I think I even saw some that maybe diverge, which not diverge, but that are convergent, which indicate multiple large impacts that created a lot of secondary impact crater rays.
Fantastic, Victor. And I'll note that we can infer that you're looking down at your freshly named Integrity crater, which is near the end of one of those beautiful crater rays from Oriental. Thanks for the description.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Integrity is easily identifiable with the naked eye from this point.
We've been hearing some great situation reports from Victor Glover, the pilot of the Artemis II mission, calling down to the science team, letting them know what he is seeing. And one of those things is Hertzsprung Basin. If you look just to the right of the Terminator, that is the difference between light and darkness on the moon. You can see what he's describing when he says Hertzsprung Basin and how it looks a little bit paved in the middle there. It's almost in the very center of the moon in this view, coming from the Orion spacecraft and a camera mounted on its solar array. We are now 4 days, 23 hours, and 23 minutes into the flight of Artemis II, and we are standing by for their lunar loss of signal in about 43 minutes. Again, the spacecraft will fly behind the moon, and during that time, we won't have communication with them. They will be out of reach of our deep space network. However, we will regain communication with them approximately 40 minutes later when they come around the other side of the moon. The crew aboard the spacecraft are currently discussing the Terminator, that difference between day and night. The science team is interested in learning about the topography and the color of the lunar surface, and it's already been very interesting to hear that they have seen colors like greens and browns while looking at the moon. Some of the questions that they are hoping the crew will discuss are how do the quantities and sizes of craters and mountains vary along the terminator? And they are looking for the crew to describe the topography of features along or near the terminator. They're also looking for more information on any color or tone variations, and they're hoping that the crew will take images to illustrate their findings. Glover reported earlier that the crew has missed none of their targets when they are photographing at the window. We aren't hearing the conversations that the crew is having right now, but these are being recorded to their personal computer devices, PCDs, and those will be sent down to the science team. The science team will have a conference with the crew tomorrow morning to discuss their findings and experience when looking at the moon today. We have a few minutes left while the crew is discussing the Terminator. And if you're just joining us, you're looking at a live view of the moon, our moon, from the Orion spacecraft and a camera on its solar array. Inside that spacecraft, 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen, the first 4 people to fly around the moon in over 50 years. This is our lunar flyby day, and the crew has already surpassed one record today. The crew passed the Apollo 13 distance record at 12:57 p.m. Central, 1:57 p.m. Eastern. Canadian Space Agency astronaut Jeremy Hansen calling down that he hopes it's a record soon broken by other explorers. We are live in Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas, monitoring the flight of Artemis II. All of the flight controllers here, each monitoring a different system aboard the Orion spacecraft.
Integrity Houston, we are ready for our cabin and window teams to swap again. We have a 15-minute handover time here, and I have a couple of items I want to read out.